So now it happened that in the story of the Peacemaker, one of the men they warned him about is someone named Hale-Wentah. And Hale-Wentah was a great warrior. And Hale-Wentah was a bit troubled. And he was kind of lost. And maybe a little bit confused, or a little bit, not to be mean, he may have kind of gotten a little bit crazy because of war. And the wars were so fierce. And what happens sometimes is warriors might be affected in a bad way and might themselves end up having a bad mind as a result of war. And they said that he stayed at war with everyone, and that it was common in those times for the people to live together in bark longhouses, that Hale-Wentah decided to go live by himself. And he lived and stayed by himself in a bark house way in the woods. So he had this bark cabin, and he did have family at Onondaga, but everyone at Onondaga feared him because he was in this bad way. And they say he was evil and had a bad mind at that time. And like I said, the people were afraid. That he might hurt them or even kill them, kill the people. And it's sad when that happens. But Hale-Wentah had his own house. And like I said, they used to take and peel the bark long time ago off elm trees. And they made these big sheets of bark. And they would make their houses with it. They use it like siding. And Hale-Wentah had his own place. And the Peacemaker was walking down the path to Onondaga, and he came upon Hale-Wentah's house. And he looked around, and he wasn't there. And the Peacemaker went in and looked in his house, and he figured that he probably wasn't too far away, because when he looked in, there was a huge clay pot that was on the fire. He had a fire going under it. So he figured, must be he's close by. And it happened that the Peacemaker was trying to think about how he was going to approach Hale-Wentah. who was lost in his own way, and in this bad way, he wasn't quite sure how he was going to bring up this idea of peace to someone that was so warlike at the time. And while he was away, he figured he must be hunting or something, because there was a pot of water that was set like that. And they say that the peacemaker was trying to decide how to handle the situation. And what he did was he climbed up on top of Hewantat's house. And that when he climbed up on top there, he was kind of looking through the hole in the top of the house, which is made to let the smoke out from a fire that's used to cook. And they said that the peacemaker got up there and was kind of looking through that hole up there. And that while he's looking down, to see what's going on in there and trying to decide how he's going to talk to him, he said that while he was doing that, that Hewantat came home. And that Hewantat got busy with the chore of cooking, and that he bent over this huge pot of water. And that, so he's in here, Hewantat is in here, and while he was bending over like that, right at that time, right at that moment, the peacemaker happened to be looking down. And when he looked down into his house, his reflection, the peacemaker's reflection, showed up in that pot of water. They said that Hewantat, who had been of a bad mind and had been hurting people, that he saw the peacemaker's reflection in that water. And for a split second, he mistook the peacemaker's kind face, the face of someone who was on a great mission, the face of someone who cared for people and was of a good mind. And just then, the peacemaker saw what happened, and he moved back out of the way. When he moved out of the way, Hewantat didn't see it in there anymore, so he leaned over and looked in the pot of water. And when he looked in the water and took a close look, he saw his own reflection. And when he saw his own reflection, he didn't like what he saw. And for the first time in a long time, Heowentat was ashamed. And he thought, if I'm all kind, then why am I doing what I've been doing? And he felt bad when he saw himself for real. And with his own self-image, he didn't like it. Because that wasn't what he thought he saw for that split second. Well, they say the Peacemaker jumped down and came in to Heowentat's house. And when he came in there, he gave Heowentat this great message of peace, power, and righteousness. And he told him, he said, you know, brother, with all of this killing and all of this violence, the way you live is not the way the Creator intended us to live. And that you need to stop living that way. And he told him that you need to be kind and you need to be peaceful, and that every person has the right to a healthy mind, a healthy body, and a healthy spirit. And he told Heowentat that killing people is not the way to live that way. And that what he's spreading and what he's telling becomes known as Gayanas Hatgowa, or the Great Law. And the Great Law is simply that people have the right to pursue a healthy mind, body, and spirit. And you know, Heowentat, from that day on, decided, instead of living life with a bad mind, he decided to live his rest of his days with a good mind. And he told the Peacemaker, he says, I've been to all of these territories and I can speak all of these languages, and I can help you spread your message of peace, power, and righteousness. And the Peacemaker accepted his help. And together, they're preparing to go to Onondaatje and to share this message this Gayanas Hatgowa, this great law, with the people. And Heowentat warned the Peacemaker. He said, it's true, I've been living in a bad way, but the leader of the Onondaatje is much worse than me. And we really have our work cut out for us, and that he's not going to accept this message of peace. And the ruler of the Onondaga at that time was a man called Ototaro. And Ototaro, Hayawanta said, was even more evil than him. And that they were in great danger trying to teach him about the good mind. And it happened that the peacemaker told him, it's my job, it's my mission of Gayanas Hatgowa to see this man and to give him this message of peace, power, and righteousness. So with that, the peacemaker and Hayawanta went to the village and they tried to talk to the people at Onondaga, the Onondaga, the people on the hill. And they tried to tell them about this great message of peace. And they thought it would be great if there could be peace, because they lived in fear of their leader, Ototaro. And next we'll talk about that person, Ototaro, the one leading Onondaga at this time.